chilling new details on what the White House is now calling an act of targeted terrorism. It happened at a Jewish event in Colorado on Sunday. In the next hour, the suspect is due on court, in court facing multiple felony charges, including a federal hate crime charge. This after officials say he used a flamethrower to set people on fire. The suspect, who officials say was in the country illegally, was heard yelling "Free Palestine" and also yelling anti-Semitic remarks. Sources say he was found with a garden sprayer full of gasoline and more than a dozen Molotov cocktails. I also want to note that last hour, our guest suggested the suspect, who is in police custody, had a record. I want to let you know CNN has not confirmed that at this time. At least 8 people were hurt, some of them badly burned. We know at least one of them is also a Holocaust survivor. CNN's John Miller leads us off again this hour. So, John, we are getting some more details in about some of the alleged planning in this attack. What have you learned?
Well, Erica, what we've learned is, and you referred to this, this is something that we are told by authorities that the suspect has been planning for over a year. And that could explain a little bit about why it looked like he was so prepared the day he did this attack, which is having shown up with a garden sprayer, which he converted into a makeshift flamethrower, according to law enforcement officials. The sheer number of incendiary devices, these Molotov cocktails, more than a dozen recovered at or near the scene, beyond the 2 that he threw before people rendered aid and called the police, and he was taken into custody. And this is a picture, we believe, of the garden sprayer. It's a kind of backpack-like device that you wear with straps, and it has a sprayer that's connected to a hose. And, having spoken to authorities out there, the question is, did he spray the gasoline on people and then throw the Molotov cocktails, knowing he had saturated them, the area, their clothes? Or, as some of the 911 callers that we played on our air earlier stated, was it actually throwing flames, which would have meant he would have had to hold a lighter in front of that garden sprayer as he poured the gasoline out. Witnesses and video have him at more than one gas station where he stopped making that drive between Colorado Springs and Boulder. It's about 100 miles or a couple of hours drive. Where he was stocking up on the gasoline to fill these carafes and that device.
John, really appreciate the additional details. Thank you. Boris?
We're joined now live by Ed Victor. He was there walking in this event when the attack unfolded. Ed, thank you for being with us. First, take us through what you experienced. When did you first realize that something was wrong?
Yes, and if I may just back up just slightly, this walk has been going on since October 7. It's a peaceful, quiet walk. I've been doing it since September 2024, and by being quiet and holding the signs of let them go now, and holding up signs of who the hostages are, we're raising awareness of the people still being held hostage in Gaza. So what we did, we were walking from the west side of Pearl Street to the east, and then we come back, and we always meet right in front of the courthouse. And I came through this area, we were setting up, and I'm so used to, if we get heckled, we're just focused on walking quietly and getting set up. So I was just talking to someone looking west towards the mountains, and suddenly what happened was I felt like heat, huge amount of flame, and I just looked and there was someone on fire. And first thing going through my mind is we got to get this person out, get the fire out. It was very nerve-wracking. There were 2 or 3 of us. We grabbed some flags, the banners we had, just trying to put the fire out. And it felt like it took a minute, 2 minutes, whatever time it was, it just felt too long. Then after that was done, there was someone attending aid for that person, the woman, and then I was with her husband, who was also burned, very distraught, and just doing my best to comfort him. And that was what was happening for me.
And you'd mentioned that at times during these walks before you'd been heckled. I do wonder if you'd ever been previously concerned for your safety, if you'd ever imagined that something like this could have happened.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I always feel incredibly safe in Boulder. I never, ever, ever would have thought this would have happened. I really can't, and I'm still shocked that it did.
Were you at all familiar with the folks that were hurt? Did you recognize any of them from previous walks?
Yes, the two people who were I feel like some of the most severely hurt were new. There was someone who was there for their second time. She was also hurt. I recognized her. The other people who were hurt, I knew them fairly well. And yeah, such a tragedy. Wonderful, wonderful people.
Give me an idea of how many people are out there and what it's like in the community to try to put this message out there about the hostages as you're watching multiple events of violent anti-Semitism occur in community after community across the country.
Yeah, you know, I say we gather as a community to do this every week. And we feel like this is our job, is to raise awareness in the quiet way that we do it. And when we're quiet, people notice us. I remember walking by a local restaurant quietly, and everyone just heads turned to see who we were and what was going on. And it was that quietness, peacefulness is what people notice. And we do it every week.
I wonder what your message is to officials across the country, because just in the last month or so, we've seen an attack on a Jewish governor, 2 people killed here in the nation's capital, Israeli embassy workers, and now this attack in Boulder. What needs to be done to better protect Jewish people?
I'll by default to myself as a community member. I'll say I felt like my job was a way to raise awareness. When the fire happened, my job was to take care of the people who were hurt. And there are other people, I'll say they're better experts to communicate what else can be done. And I'm happy that the community, both the Jewish community and my non-Jewish community, I'll say city, state, local, federal, people are coming out to speak about what's going on. So I'll let them talk directly to you.
Sure. And Ed, are you planning on holding another walk this weekend?
I'm glad you asked. I hope so. Like, I feel like I'll be out here next week and the week following. This would not stop me. I'm not in charge of the walks, and we'll see what other people decide what they want to do, but I will be here.
Ed Victor, we're so sorry that you endured what you did, and we're thinking of those who were hurt. We appreciate you sharing your perspective.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Of course. Erica?
Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe joins us now. So Andy, in terms of where we stand in this moment, we now know the suspect has been charged with a federal hate crime. And also, according to the affidavit, he told investigators he wanted to, and I'm quoting here, wanted to kill all Zionist people. And the affidavit also noting that he'd been planning the attack for a year. What does this tell you in terms of what we're learning now about where the investigation might stand, even just, maybe 24 hours, not even into this?
Yeah, so Erica, at this point, I mean, the investigators have a lot of evidence to use in this prosecution. Obviously, the evidence they were able to collect at the scene, so witness testimony, the videotapes of him saying these anti-Semitic things, all of that will be very powerful evidence of his intent, and specifically to indicate exactly who he was targeting. And that is a key piece of the statute. The federal statute, the hate crime statute, requires that you commit this act, whether it's use of an explosive device or an attempt to cause bodily injury, for the purpose targeting someone, in this case, a member of a specific religious group. So that's very powerful evidence. Mm-hmm. As to his general criminal intent, you have this incredible planning cycle that goes back, they've told us, over a year. And that's going to include things like buying the backpack mounted plant sprayer, buying the wine carafes that he used for the Molotov cocktails, driving to the location that day, stopping and filling all these things with gasoline along the way. So each step in that process, very powerful evidence of intent. And of course, we all know exactly what happens. The forensic evidence from the scene is important as well.
Andrew McCabe, appreciate it as always. Thank you.